Namaste. Good day, everyone. This is Sudi Burnett. I have started my live a little bit sooner, and this is the first time I'm also going live on Facebook. So I'm hoping that my people from Facebook also get their notice that I am starting. Hello everyone from Instagram, Fariba, Lucy, Mahin, welcome everyone. The topic of today live is higher consciousness, and my guests are Julie, beautiful Julie Cook, and Alison from England. So I guess we're gonna have an amazing time. Yes. So welcome, Zara. Please let me know where you guys are joining me from. What part do you guys live? And tell me a little bit what is happening wherever you guys are living. So these days, as you all know, I live in Los Angeles, California. And these days, there is a lot of talk about we are going to have an experience, another wave. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, a new wave. But generally, I have decided to mind my own business and just do the daily practice. Do you guys know what is the daily practice that I'm talking about? That we're constantly coming from a higher place of consciousness, and we are looking at this I character. So from the morning when I wake up, I come to my higher awareness that this I has just woken up. And I'm watching this I, and I'm noticing this I all day long. I'm looking at this character outside myself. I'm separating myself totally from this character I, which is the ego, which is the mind ego, which is a false self. And I'm constantly watching this character. When the character thinks, I am aware that I'm not the thoughts, the character is thinking. And when a feeling arises, I notice the feeling, but I don't identify myself with the feeling. I'm just watching, I'm just observing, I'm just noticing this character, this I, outside myself. Have you guys started to do this exercise? Yes or no? As I am practicing this, and I'm teaching a lot of people who are following me, doesn't matter from which platform, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, I see that everyone is telling me this is a really hard task. And I'm quite aware of this. This is extremely difficult for me to be aware that I am not the thinker. I am not the thinker of the thought, but this I, this character, is the one who is thinking. I'm quite aware of the thinking machine. And what does the thinking machine do? Yes, I know I have no join request, but I want to see if Allison or anyone else is here. Let me see the people and then I shall choose. Okay, I don't see Allison here yet. Welcome everybody else. I guess you will notify me when they get here. Thank you. So, let me know, guys, where are you from, number one, and tell me if you are doing this practice daily. So the majority of my fans or my followers are finding this practice extremely difficult. And I know. And I have said from day one, hi Meryl John, welcome Levy. I have said from day one, this is one of the hardest tasks to achieve. To constantly be at a state of awareness, higher consciousness, to realize that I am not the thinker of the thoughts. I am only watching the character who is thinking. And I can also question the thinking machine. Who is the one who's thinking? What happens the minute you question the thinker? What happens? The minute I ask myself, I stop the thought and I said, who is the one who's thinking? I'm interrupting the thinking machine. By doing that, I come to my awareness that I am not the thinker of the thoughts, right? But this really needs, well, it actually needs many things. Number one, you have to choose what level of consciousness you want to be. If you choose to be asleep, then you don't have to do anything. You can stay asleep. And every once in a while, if someone comes to wake you up, if someone shouts, hey, look what's going on. This life, this short life is passing by and you have been sleeping the whole time. And at times, you might wake up for a little short while, but if you're not aware, you will go back to sleep very, very quickly. So the first step is choose. You have to make a choice. Do I want to wake up? Or do I want to continue the rest of it being in a deep, deep, deep sleep? Either way, the time will pass. So, can you please tell me, what would you like to choose? Would you like to choose to wake up? Or would you like to stay asleep? I tell you about my decision. I have chosen to wake up and stay awake. That's my decision. with that comes responsibility. It's a huge responsibility for us to do this practice non-stop. You have to become fully responsible to stay awake. Second step, which is close to responsibility, is commitment. How committed am I to stay at this task, do this boring practice day after day after day after day? Because a part of doing this practice requires that I be at a higher level of consciousness. It's a constant reminder to myself. Good day, Allison.
Hello, Sudhi. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a while. How have you been?
I have been really well, thank you. Yeah, a bit of time out, but I needed. I'm relaxed and calm today, so thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been great. I'm doing great. I'm going over with everyone else. What am I doing these days is to be aware of this I, which is very, very hard to do, very hard task to do. So, yes. Okay, Julie. Let me find Julie. Oh, Julie, can you please send me an invite? I don't want to invite everybody. I just want to invite Julie. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this. Let me get Julie to come up. Yes, Julie, would you please be kind enough and send me a join request? Thank you, dear. Okay, so what's happening in England, Alison?
Autumn has apparently started. I love autumn. I don't know about you about seasons, but I really like that calmness that autumn brings. It's that time when things start to slow down, and I'm looking forward to it. So, hello,
Beautiful.
Julie.
Namaste,
Hello.
lovely Julie. How are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Where are you living right now?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Beautiful. So I want you to also meet Alison. Alison is from England.
Hi, Allison.
It's lovely to meet you, Julie. How are you doing? You look really energetic. I love the surroundings that you sat there in.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm doing wonderful. I
Good
love your
stuff.
Beautiful.
surroundings too.
Thank you.
Nice, nice and beautiful. Mirsha Jan, I also going live on Facebook. If you want to check out Facebook, is the first day that I decided to also add Facebook, because I've been doing that for many, many years, and then somehow I stopped doing it. I abandoned Facebook, and I'm just starting to get back to also do a live on Facebook. So here we go. Okay, so the topic today is higher consciousness. Let's dive into it. Who wants to start?
Well, I think the opening gambit is that consciousness is a mystery and I don't have any answers. So how is that as an opening, an opening for today?
That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Alison. So let's start with you, Julie.
Yeah, so higher consciousness. So I talk a lot about higher consciousness with what I do with my work. I'm a Reiki master and teacher, and I'm always posting about, you know, raising our level of consciousness. And it's actually happening so natural right now with the shifts ever since like the new age of Aquarius and like all of this light energy that's like pouring our earth. And it's awakening our consciousness, not just humans, but animals and plant life. Like we're all ascending, you know, we're all ascending to a consciousness of this oneness energy, this oneness being, this unity consciousness. And, you know, that's where it comes from. It's like unconditional love and like knowing that we are all one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, beautiful. So I see that a lot of us just saying this, Julie, that we are all one consciousness and we are all one and we are all love. But when it comes to daily practices, how do you achieve that to stay at that level of consciousness?
I love that question. So I do recommend, you know, using all the tools that we do have. And number one is going in and meditation, you know, really just like doing the inner work by meditating, sound therapy, going out in nature and literally just putting your bare feet on the ground or putting your body up against a tree, you know, really connecting to the natural world and the natural rhythm of our spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
I also too find that Reiki sessions do help people awaken because we're balancing like the chakra system, the mind, body, soul, so you're able to relax more. So, you know, more light can come in when you're open and receptive to it, right?
Mm-hmm. So for people like my followers, like if somebody doesn't want to do Reiki, or they think, okay, someone can do a Reiki on me once in a while, or maybe a healer can only do that, do you have any other way of like practices for people to actually be something that they wake up every day and they say, oh, I got to do this, like a daily practice besides meditations?
Yes. So I do a daily practice myself, and it's a breath work, and it's called Ocean's Breath, and it's about a 10-minute breath work that I do. It's like it's inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, exhaling for 6, hold for 2. And you do a sequence of those breaths, which I incorporate like sound therapy with it. And really, you know, connecting to breath is our life force energy. That's what, you know, that's what Reiki is, and Chi and prana. That's all our life force energy. That's in our breath. And we can awaken ourselves with our breath if we're consistent with it. I work with a lot of clients that I've taught them this breath work, and it's been life-changing for them because it does help you let go, have victory over those thoughts and over the mind, like it's the busy mind, and it just kind of helps you let go and go within.
Beautiful. So should we practice this, all of us, right now?
We could, yes.
Let's do it, Julie.
Okay. This one, did you want to do the longer one? Because this one's like about 10 minutes long.
No, we can do a quick, short one just to coach us how to do it.
Okay, I'd love to. Okay, so the best way of doing it is like when you're sitting tall or on your knees, okay? Mm-hmm. And the first round is you want to put your hands on your hips, okay? And you want to just kind of let go of all the air in your body. And then we're all going to inhale together. So on the count of 4. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath.
Julia, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So on the exhale, do we do it through the nose or mouth?
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. You can do either or, but when you're doing it through your nose, you know that the ocean's breath from yoga, where you kind of make that like that ocean sound, like with the back of your throat. like this. Okay,
Gotcha.
that actually calms the nervous system. So you can breathe out of your nose or your mouth. It really doesn't matter. Whatever feels
Okay.
comfortable for you.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry for interruption.
That's
So let's
okay.
start.
We can start again. It's all
Okay.
good. All right. So letting all the air out of your body. And we're going to inhale together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2. And inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2. We'll do one more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2. And you can go back to normal breaths.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Allison, do you want to come in? Do you want to tell us how you stay conscious during the day?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Julie. I did my meditation before the session, and now with the breath work, I'm just like, if I nod off, then I just apologize in advance. It's not you guys. I'm just so calm. So thank you. Yeah, I think in terms of what Julie touched on, that awareness of going within and looking at your own mirror, that's always got to be any part of that shifting from what we would be seen as the primitive mind to a different state. So that's that very first thing of having that awareness. And I think outside of that, once you've tapped into more of that, it's about mindfulness, just having more knowledge and more connection with yourself and with your surroundings. That really just helps to start to make those shifts. Those are the first things I think that are really helpful for people, and we can all do that. We can all start to take that time, that stillness. There is so much joy and there's so much lessons in stillness, and I think with this maelstrom of busyness that we're in all of the time, we just need to step back outside of it and then reconnect with ourselves. That's what I'd say would be the first step.
Beautifully said. So before you guys arrive, I started the live a few minutes earlier, and I was just doing, this is what I'm doing with my followers, and with I'm doing weekly webinars. It's ongoing. It's like 4 months and then another 5 months, and it's like constantly. I have one workshop on Saturdays. It's about emotional balance, achieving to get to a point that we kind of mature up a little bit emotionally. And Sundays, I started another webinar actually last week, is from being penniless to being your own boss. So that's another workshop that I've started, but this is because I have seen coaching so many years. I see that there are so many layers. I mean, we as humans are so complex that is so many areas to look, it's just like looking at it upside down, looking at it downside up, looking at it from the side, from this angle, this view. And I see that I noticed in the last few years, one of the dilemmas most people have is that they're coming from scarcity consciousness and they're not even aware of it. They try to do so many different things. They touch on many things, but it never goes anywhere. There's not money coming. And this was a big question for me, because since I was Julie probably doesn't know that, but I left Iran when I was 17 years old. And I left the big family and I said, this is it. I'm leaving Iran and I'm not coming back here. I'm going to America, to the land of opportunities. And my mission, when I was flying over from Iran I went to Germany first, stayed there for a few months because the American embassy was shut down in Iran. It still is. So you had to go to a second country to get your visa established or whatever. So I stayed 2 months, I think, in Germany. And then I went for a short visit to England and I flew here. But as I was coming here, I was writing my life story, my plans, the goals that I have. And I promised myself at age 7 that I would never, ever ask my family or anyone for that matter to borrow any money. So I have to make it no matter what it is. And I still remember I left Iran with $1,000, which was my own money being saved over the years. And I kept my promise. So anytime I changed many different fields, from being a personal trainer to selling food door to door to being a coach for so many years, doing the healing, energy healing, doing so many seminars overseas and webinars. Whatever I touched, it turned into money. So I'm always thinking, what is it that people, I mean, I wasn't a chef, but one day I thought, I got to learn how to cook and how teach people how to eat healthy. The idea came to me and I started working with making doughs to make like, you know, some nice bread that is not any chemicals or any sugars or anything in it. Anyhow, from there I started buying a huge basket and I went door to door and sold food to people, like different kind of salads, sprouts, avocados, blah blah blah. And that became so successful that I realized that I cannot manage this. This turned out to be a huge business. So I went to a church and I said, look, you can just take over this business, just feed the homelesses or whatever. So you see what my point is? I see so many coaches who are struggling to make money. I see so many healers, shamans, so many people. It doesn't matter how educated they are. Some of them are actually overeducated, but people cannot make money. So how can we change this scarcity consciousness to a prosperous consciousness in your mind, guys?
That's a really big question. And Sudi, I just like to say, and I don't say this lightly, you are an inspiration. The tenacity and resilience and the messages that you give out. So I don't know if Julie wants to go first. I'm not negating and not jumping in for an answer on purpose. If Julie has an answer, or I can go, it's whichever suits.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I think what really helped me, and again, there's this, and when it really connected when you mentioned about a lot of coaches, it's just if we perceive energy differently, and I'm not like a money mindset coach, that's not my area. I don't technically have a niche, but if you see money energetically, then you start to see it differently. And if you let go of a certain element of it, and that's how it links in, I think, into consciousness as well, because if you look at the lower consciousness, when you're just focused on yourself and success, that sometimes creates scarcity. But when we start to operate in a different way and let go and broaden that lens and look at the world in a broader context, I think that changes the perception, and that changes energetically the exchange of money. So that's what I'd offer as an answer. Once we start to be doing that, once we sort of open up a little bit more, we're more empathic, we're more compassionate with the world, we're less focused on ourselves. I think that's probably where that shift starts. I'm only proffering that as an answer in my experience. I'd love to hear what Julie's got to say.
Thank you for sharing that. And yes, Sodi, you are such an inspiration. Thank you for also sharing. Yeah, so I mean, I have kind of changed careers. I have been in my energy therapy business for 1 year this Saturday. And I came from a corporate background in cosmetics and makeup, but I was always learning all of this energy stuff on the side for years. So I took the leap of faith, and my practice, my daily practice and support from mentors, coach, is to get rid of that lack mentality, that scarcity mentality that we have been conditioned with. That yes, I can do this. I can build my dream, and I will be wealthy, and it's safe for me to be spiritual and wealthy. And that's the thing, I think, with what Allison was saying is too, it is that mindset. Money is energy. So when you kind of change that around, so you're not attached to a certain energy to the money, which is fear, right? You got to get rid of that fear. So I would say, like, it's been a constant practice for me to keep that higher level of consciousness of infinite abundance, infinite possibilities, infinite intelligence that I can tap into. So I will be successful, and I am successful.
That's a beautiful answer.
So basically, we are realizing that is the mindset, the way, or our relationship with money, right? So for instance, I was listening to this, who was it? I got it from Jeff. They were talking about when we want to sell our services, we feel so bad about it. You know, so many people, when we say, you got to sell, they get offended. It's like, why do I don't like sell. Why do I have to sell? I don't want to sell myself. Well, how do you want to make a living as a coach or as a, healer or whatever you're doing as a painter, if you don't sell, not yourself, you're not selling yourself, but you're selling what you're providing, what you're giving out to your community. So when we change that mindset, because that's what I'm trying to do with my assistants, and I told them, I said, look, think about it. When I'm doing a workshop or webinar, we have like 100, 200 people sign up, right? And look at the result they're getting while they're doing these webinars or doing these practices, and how it transformed and changed their lives. So by you guys not really using the social media into its full potential, you cutting out that joy, that happiness, that wealth, that contentment from so many people, because you think in your head that you guys don't want to sell and you don't like selling and you don't like marketing. See how you are not doing a favor to others by not changing your mindset. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly, Sudi. I see that as if you let go of the transaction and focus on the transformation. Because what we're doing, you can't put a price on what we do. This is something that my coaches have helped me to see it in that perspective. And Laurie Gray, etc., the coaches I've had, and Laurie's an amazing coach, is letting go of that and just focusing. You are delivering an experience which you can't put a value on. So in essence, there isn't a value, especially what coaches are doing, because we are changing somebody's life. And how can you do that? So when you say selling, like I say, let go. If you reframe that and look at that, as you've pointed out to your team, you're actually doing a disservice to people in the universe if you're not out there helping them, because you're here for a reason. And that reason there is, if that's to help transform people, So if we let go of the outcome and then just focus on the transformation, I think sometimes for me, that's what I found particularly helpful when I was new in business, to help that shift, to turn that around. And yeah, just let go of those things. It's not about selling. It's about value, and it's about experience and the difference that you bring, in my opinion.
And oftentimes, I want to see what's your take on it. Oftentimes, when we come to a like more conscious community, or people who are claiming that they are more conscious, they have this love and hate relationship with money, number one, and their outer reality is not reflecting really a wealthy, prosperous lives. So I'm often wondering, what is it? Where is the problem that if I'm a healer, or if I'm a shaman, or if I'm in this any kind of health or conscious business, I have to be struggling with my day-to-day life, and my reality is not showing that money is constantly coming to me. So this is my frame. I'm thinking I am creating my reality from this mosquito that's biting me right now, from the orange trees, and from you guys, and from everything else. I am creating all these things, and the one who's experiencing it is actually the I, the ego mind, right? The false self. So if I'm coming from a higher consciousness, from that awareness, shouldn't I come from a better place, that I'm making this outer world um, much more pleasant, much more loving, much more prosperous, rather than seeing the outer world as the economy is not good. Now we're struggling with COVID. We're angry about the system. We're angry about the government. There's no justice there. And all these things that I'm feeling and I'm thinking is just making my life so miserable, and not living a prosperous life. I think it's a combination of that negativities and on that. What do you guys think? Julie, what do you think about this?
Yes, I agree. We are in very challenging times right now. What's happening in the world, and then trying to live a prosperous life, it can really like bog you down, like to the point of like feeling like you're helpless or wanting to give up, right? So I would say, yes, definitely the planetary energies have a lot to do with like our movement forward, or how we're feeling, because most of us are extremely empathic right now, right? And we can like feel all of this coming in, and that pressure on top of us. So I would just say, keep doing the inner work. Keep doing the inner work. Keep going within. Breath work, meditation, whatever you do that can bring in that joy or a celebration that will balance the energies of how you're feeling. Because if you're in this like kind of like doom gloom mindset, there's an imbalance there. There's maybe an imbalance of the light energy. You're too dark with like thought or what could go wrong. And if you go treat yourself, go for a facial, or go on a trip, or just bringing that balance of joy and that celebration, I find can change that energy. So you are moving towards something more positive. I think a lot of people are forgetting to do that right now, is to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun, have joy, open that bottle of champagne for no reason, go buy yourself some flowers for no reason. That's what I would have to say.
Back to you, Alison.
Yeah, I think there's elements of both parts of the conversation that are being brought together, and you've both mentioned that position of fear which is propagated, and if we're in that primitive sort of more structure of our mind, and the openness that love, compassion, that's what that brings. So our mind is like a reflection of that world that we see, and balance has to be, yeah, we maybe can't operate at that higher level all of the time, but we are generally unconditionally loving ourselves and the world once we're in that state, and we see things through a different lens when we're doing that, and that's what we need to do more of, especially now. And I'm with you, Julie. We need more fun. I mean, just last week it was like a little holiday. For the first time I went out to the theatre in like 18 months. I had a glass of wine outside with friends. It was those things again. I think we've forgotten those things sometimes. We need to, again, that's that reconnection with everybody else as well. Because once we reconnect with ourselves, we then reconnecting. Community and connection for human beings is so important. So yeah, let's have some fun. Tap into those emotions that bring out the best in everybody. That peace and that love and that tranquility that's there as well as that calmness.
Mm. So I had a session with this gorgeous girl from Germany yesterday, and she told me that she's been in literally five different relationships, and they all went sour. So she married this guy. At the beginning, everything is rosy and beautiful, but after 6 months, they got a divorce. So all of these guys are, after a few months, a month or two, they turn into this devil, this narcissist, this abusive character. And I asked her, I said, so 5 relationships on a row, and she's just 30 years old, right? So it's like there's not even a long time between each relationship they're happening. I said, what is the common ground with all these 5 relationships? Who is consistent in all of these relationships? And she says, oh, it's me. And I said, do you think you coming from a light part of this soul, or are you coming from a dark side of this soul? And she says, oh, absolutely light. I went to Bali for a couple of months. I worked with healers. I went to Australia. I worked with some shamans. I did ayahuasca journey, and I'm coming totally from pure light. And I asked her, I said, if you're coming from pure light, so how come the reality is not matching up with that light? I mean, what is it that 5 guys, and your dream is to get married and have a family and have kids and that stuff, and 5 relationships on a row comes up, very sweet, attraction, devil, narcissist, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. So how is it that this pure light is creating, as a creator, this picture outside? And
Wow, that's quite
yeah,
a difficult, tough one. Julie, do you want to go with this one, or do you want? I'll come in second.
Yeah, sure. I would say this. Okay, I've been kind of struggling with similar things with attracting, I guess you could say, the dark. And I've been, especially recently, especially the month of August after the Lionsgate portal, I found that I was really struggling with certain types of relationships that weren't very healthy. They were toxic. And I believe that when you are that full of light, you do attract the people that need healing. So it's that person that's in the light. You have to have better discernment and better boundaries. And really listen to your intuition and those red flags that do come up, because red flags are everything and we're just not listening to our intuition. So that's been playing a big part in my role, is like, how can I have more discernment with these boundaries with people? Where do I stand? And how much will I give?
Yeah. Okay, Allison.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. You didn't mention how much self-love your German friend client has, because that's sometimes as much as that light and that energy is there. Again, sometimes there are reflections, there are, as I said earlier, there are mirrors all around. But as Julie said, those people could be coming into her life for a reason. There could be a reason for that. It's an interesting question, and a lot of people go into a relationship to get something, not to give something.
Mm-hmm.
And once you look at it slightly different and change that around, sometimes that can be that shift that's happened. As a single person on relationships, I'm probably not the best person qualified in terms of this, but what I'd say is that self-love has got to be the first point. It's something I've definitely learned, and I'm just more comfortable in all of my relationships now in terms of once you value yourself, and Julie's right in terms of that discernment, your values and how you view yourself, that's your sort of discernment. And don't compromise your boundaries, and be really aware of those red flags. Gut and intuition, again, when we go back to awareness and being awakened, go with that gut feeling. There's probably been something there, but there's also probably a reason that we're not aware of that she's going into those relationships. But I do know an excellent coach who deals with narcissism if a friend needs any help and support. So there is help and support out there as well.
Mm. So this is the way I worked on this session. See if you guys, if this resonates with you guys. I want to know your opinion on it. What I did with her was that I said, oftentimes we use a spirituality and for many different reasons. Many people use the spiritualities and doing daily meditations and going to a healers or doing all this stuff because they don't really understand who is the one who's wounded and have all these stories and live these stories day by day, because they don't really identify or actually separate themselves from their false self. They get under these assumptions that, oh yeah, I am just like she was saying, I'm just like my mother, people pleaser. When I go into a relationship, I give out everything, I lose myself. So these are all from my side is the I that I was talking before you guys come. Who is this I who has all these judgments towards itself, that I am this or that? This happened to me in my childhood. I am wounded. If my parents weren't like so, blah, blah, blah. Oh, because I had a narcissistic father, now I'm attracting one narcissistic guys after another. But I think it's time for me, at least I came to this realization that until we don't realize who this I is, which we can call the ego or the false self, and continuously separating ourselves from this I, we will suffer, and our outer world will never come. We never become a creator, and our outer world would never come to the way we want it to be. So let's look at it deeper together. Let's separate ourselves from this I. From the morning when we wake up, we come from our higher consciousness and we say, oh, the I just woke up. I'm separating myself from this character, right? So the character gets up, goes to the bathroom and pees. I'm not the experiencer of the character that peeing or pooping. I am aware, I am the awareness who watching the character doing an action. And I constantly do that. This character thinks that, oh, I'm tired. I'm tired. I separate myself from that feeling, the thoughts, the meaning that this character has. And I don't identify myself with the thoughts, with the character's mind, with the feelings, even the body. I am quite aware that this physical body, this body that I spend so much time to make it skinny, to make it a size 1, to go to tanning salon, to spend money to do Botox, to liposuctions, to do all these things, to eat this, what to eat, not to eat, blah, blah, work out so this body stays skinny and firm and blah, blah, blah. All of this physical body is not even mine. This is a creation from the mind and the feelings. Is the I, is this character. So what happens if from first thing in the morning, I watch this character as a totally different entity, separate from myself? I don't identify with any thoughts. When the character said, oh my God, yesterday, oh my God, this relationship, I separate myself from that thought. And I said, the character is thinking. I question the thinking machine. Who is the one who's saying this? Who is the one who's saying this is the 5th relationship that has been going sour one after one? What happens if I constantly separate myself from this I and from this character? I know all of my followers are doing that, and we're doing it in every workshop. And it's really funny because they leave like voice messages. One of them, she told me a few days ago, she said, the machine is not feeling well. She meant the character. And I said, and I texted back and I said, who is listening to the machine? And then she said, I got it, but I'm really, the machine is really pissed off. Can I have a session? 10-minute session. I said, okay. So as she called me, she was devastated. She was crying because this boy told her, the guy that she met a month ago, he told her, you're not my type, and he's going with another girl. So the session started with her being hysterical, crying, to the point that after 10 minutes, we were both laughing. 5 minutes, she was laughing. She says, the machine is saying, and I was saying, what a stupid machine. And we turned it into, anytime she said, I would say, who is it? Oh, no, it's not me. Is the, what do you guys think if we follow up this method of, or
I think it seems really powerful. It's like you're changing it to like an actor on a stage, and this movie that's running, the thoughts, feelings, emotions, what's happening, you're creating a distance. And it's like people can create, they're like, then they can become a director with objectivity. They can be a director in their own movie rather than being dictated to by that. That's how I'd see it. And it sounds really powerful. It sounds really powerful. I don't know what Julie's thoughts are.
Yeah, that's really cool the way you look at it. I think it's really great too, because it's like you're kind of stepping away from the I and kind of looking at it through maybe your higher self's eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're stepping back and you're looking at with a new set of eyes.
And that creates
sorry,
Julie. And that creates a different narrative then, doesn't it, Julie? It's creating a different story. It's perpetuating something different.
Absolutely.
But it's so hard because we constantly have to be at a higher consciousness to remember that, because The minute you're not conscious, it just the I become the I, and it becomes my story, and it becomes my dilemma, and it becomes the da 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 all of the. And I think that by doing this, like I am doing with all my followers, I'm doing the same thing. As soon as I wake up, I said, "Oh, the I has just woken up." And I put the cup of coffee. I'm being very mindful as I'm drinking every sip of coffee. I'm even tasting the coffee. But then again, I'm saying, oh, the character, the I is drinking coffee. I still separate myself, whether it's pleasant, even if it's a pleasant experience, I still separate myself and I say, the character is drinking its coffee very mindfully. She's tasting every bit of this. And then as the day goes by, I'm talking with someone, or I have to make so many decisions so quickly, and I'm still watching myself. Yes, do this. No, don't do that. Yes, we have to go on Facebook. But the whole time, it's so hard for me to separate myself from that character who's making a decision, who's doing this or who's doing that. But I think if we continue doing this, we get to the point that this I totally vanishes. And then it's then that I become my true self. Because, once I'm in this eye, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so behind with Instagram. People are moving ahead and I've got to do Facebook. I abandoned Facebook. And all these thoughts is not giving me a good feeling. When I become conscious and aware of it, I come up again and I said, what is this whole life about anyway? It's about me being this higher consciousness, because it's from that point of awareness, higher awareness, I removed the I eventually, and I really became the creator. So from that higher awareness, I say, I want to have my own center. I'm really thinking about this, has been my vision for many years, that I want to have a center or like an ashram to get a lot of loving, like-kinded minded people to be there for the kids, little kids, 1 year old, 2 year old, to grow up with community of loving and being in nature and being totally away from social medias and the phones, and we farm and we build and we do. This has been my dream and vision for many, many years. And now I think I'm really seriously, the I is thinking about it.
It's a beautiful vision. It really, really is. And I think what you're doing, Sudi, is that intention that you are bringing. I don't mean intention as in an outcome, but you are going into your day with that intention. And that's how you are then, because those neural pathways, I mean, there's trillions of neurons. I don't know, 100 million. I'm not very good at maths. There's a lot. It takes a lot of time to change those pathways, but going in with that intention, that's what you're doing. And you're going in and creating, like I said, you're the creator, rather than letting that primitive reptilian brain be in the driving seat. You're the one that's, like I said, the director of your own movie. And having a community, an organization, whatever you want to create with that would be just magical. I had a conversation similar with a friend the other day about just going somewhere, getting an island, being off grid, and just having some solar panels and being self-sufficient. So I get entirely where you're coming from. It's a beautiful picture that you've painted.
Yeah, and I'm thinking all these people that I have done join lives from Africa, from Canada, from US, from Puerto Rico, from all over the place. How nice would it be to have a center that we can all merge together, living together as a community. And then I think by having that loving lifestyle, we can animate more energy of love and light and attract more and more people to come and grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So my point is, when I come to this, when I let this I take over, I get into frustration, I get into competition, I get to all of this. But when I catch myself and I come up at a higher consciousness or awareness, I said to myself, what's the main goal? Oh, the main goal is to have this center, to have all these loving people come together and all this thing. So I am hoping that we can all merge together shortly, and we have this. I actually have two people who are, I'm having lunch today with someone who is thinking about starting this in Costa Rica. So we're having lunch for him to give me the vision. I have spoken to someone else from Oregon, and he has few acres of land, and he's thinking about the same thing. I'm thinking about Africa. You know, Nikki has been sending us all these videos from the places, the hotels they have there in Africa. So I'm hoping that very soon we can all gather together and this just shows up.
That would be a beautiful thing to bring into the universe.
Julie, you're very quiet.
Yes, that would be the ultimate goal, right? I mean, when you first mentioned that, I was just like, I'll be first to come and help you.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think it's so important that, like, another thing came to me too is like higher consciousness with your higher self, right? And seeing the world through the eyes of your higher self. And I practice that a lot with my clients is, you know, always trying to like integrate that higher self for that higher awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe our full ascension that we are going through right now is that we are just going to merge into our higher selves. That's what I believe what the fifth dimension and the golden age is going to be all about. And it's that coming together, that higher vibration. And the more we do it and the more love, the more love that spreads. It's like a ripple effect of positivity.
Yes. And I believe the more we recognize this I and distance or separate ourselves from this I, the fastest we reach a higher consciousness. Because all the programmings, all this app, because I have done this for many years, you know, like we all come with these 4 apps: self-love or lack of self-love, unworthiness, undeserving, not being enough, abandonment issue, codependency, blah, blah, blah. But then I came to the point and I thought, this was in my latest download, and I was thinking, okay, if we want to constantly work with these apps, we are going to be distracted, constantly trying to fix this, and then bring our self-love up, and then this shows up, my abandonment shows up, let's work on this. We're constantly being distracting, trying to fix this I, this character, this you know, this science fiction character, which is I. So I thought, or I got a download, isn't it easier and better if we totally separate ourselves from this character, and then we become we are the consciousness, right? We are the awareness. It's just this I that is constantly separating us from it.
Yeah, and I think from what you've identified, Sudhi, if I may observe, that's when we're aligned with our purpose as well. That's where we are doing what we were designed to be doing. When we take all of that white noise that the mind can create, and we're in a different position. And it takes a huge amount. It's constant, and it takes time to get to that level. But doing that and being aligned, and authenticity was one word that you touched on earlier, and that's when we are being our authentic self. Those layers, it's like an onion, all of those layers have been shed, and we can just be who we are, and that is fantastic. And thank you for sharing that with us today. It's given me a lot to think about, and I'm sure the audience as well.
Who's the one who's thinking about it, Alison?
That's a very good question.
You
I
just
think
said I
how,
have to think about it a lot, but
yeah,
the one who has to think about it a lot is the I. You got to be so so mindful with this practice, because it's just so easy for that I to take off and take you again into this thinking, because the I is starting to think, and then it's saying, oh, there was some truth into that. Now I have to do it. Can I do it? It's all becomes the I itself again.
yeah, I'm not letting fear be in the driving seat. I prefer love, compassion, and peace. So we'll go with that. But thank you. That is a great observation.
Julie, we're gonna end the live with you, honey.
Okay. Okay. Happy fall, autumn equinox or spring equinox, wherever you are. We are holding an event tonight, and you know, we're doing a like an energy work with sound and healing tonight. And just I would say, like, to leave this off, this live, I would say right now we are like really working with our root chakras and the clearing of our root chakra, right? And this time of the season when we're balancing the light and the dark, and we're balancing the feminine and the masculine energies, it's just taking that time to go within and finding that balance once again, which is, you know, yes, there's lots of challenges happening in our world and our lives today, but what can we do to bring that balance back? Are you in too much of the masculine? Are you too fiery and action? Are you not letting the divine feminine flow and surrender to all of these changes? How can we balance the light and the dark in ourselves? Right? So that's just being mindful of taking yourself out from the I and maybe looking at it from that perspective.
Beautiful, Julie. Thank you so much. So please, everyone, follow Julie and also follow Alison. Julie, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yes, on Instagram here at Energy with Julie, or my website, energywithjulie.com.
Okay, beautiful. And you, Alison?
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram, AlisonButters18. I'm also on LinkedIn. You'll find my website and everything else on there. And I'd just like to thank everybody, and thank you too. It's just been absolutely joyful. It's been beautiful. So thank you so much.
Love and peace to both of you and everyone who was here. Try to laugh as much as you can. Don't take this movie too seriously. It's only a movie. Don't get tricked by it. Don't become reactive to it. Don't go up and down. It's just a movie. Love you all, and see you Thursday. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Love you all.
Love you. Bye bye.
Bye.